Hi, I'm Chris Frankel, Head of Human Performance here at TRX. Welcome to this week's weekly sequence. Let's get after it. So this week is all about putting end zones into your training. So we're going to start with Erin. She's going to set herself up for the TRX hinge. The cueing here is she wants to feel like she's almost bending down to pick up a kid or something heavy, or for people that do deadlifts, it's almost between your shins and your thighs in that deadlift position. She wants to be tight in her core, hips are turned on, hands are straight and strong. Her hands are going to stay underneath her shoulders the entire time, and she's going to let herself move out. Here's one end zone here, back under control, another end zone here, last rep here. End zone 1, really looking for hip extension, core engagement here, and coming home, bending those knees and hips at the same time. Now that we've got that core turned on a little bit, we're going to take her into just a low row. But now instead of letting those hips break, the focus here is that end zone at the bottom becomes good core engagement, not too much arch in the back. Glutes are turned on, hips are nice and stable, and now she becomes that moving plank, using her arms to bring herself up and down. So we've got the continuity of good core engagement that we got in the hinge, but now we've added locked out hip extension here for our end zones. Hold at the bottom, shoulders are down and back, hips are engaged, come up, pause at the top, shoulders stay down away from the ears, glutes are still engaged with hip extension. Couple more reps, end zone 1, end zone 2. So now she knows how to move from point A to point B with a couple of cueing tips along the way. The last one we're going to add to this sequence is still working that posterior chain. We're going to take her through a squat. So she's going to start with her hands in front of her body, elbows bent right underneath her shoulders, and now let yourself lower down into the squat, pause at the bottom, re-engage, bring yourself up, go through a couple more reps, making sure quick pause at the bottom, end zone down here, come up, pause at the top, do 3 more reps, and if you think back to what you did on the very first hinge movement, we were getting her focusing out into hip extension here and then actively bringing yourself back into triple flexion. We can now go back and cue through that, saying good hip extension at the top for end zone 1, pause at the bottom, feet are flat, core's engaged, hips are just slightly below the knees, and then extend back up and relax. So you can use end zones for cueing and also for connecting 2 or 3 exercises together. Hip extension in one exercise and hip extension in another. Thanks for checking out this week's weekly sequence. Make sure you come back next week for more free content, training tips, featured movements, and weekly sequence.